Hello and welcome to yoga today. So, why yoga? Why are you here this morning or this afternoon or this evening? And why have you chosen to come to the mat and do some yoga and feel into the breath today? I'd love to give you a little bit of insight that I find really helpful when I am deciding whether to practice on a day-to-day basis. Throughout our lives, we're so busy. We have so many to-do lists. We are so technologically advanced on computers, on iPhones. We are so distracted with life. Our mind is on hyperdrive. It's go, go, go. And whether you've got a house full of kids or whether you're just really busy in life, it doesn't really matter. We're all going through the same thing, but to be that distracted, we actually leave our bodies. We leave all the sensations and the feelings and everything else, and we go completely numb. This is a great way to have a distraction, but at the same time, it sets us up for not being able to deal with life issues, for not being able to deal with the child when they have a massive tantrum and you want them to stop, or somebody hurts your feelings and you're devastated and you're so upset and you're looking for a way to escape. It's life and it's always going to be like that. However, if you can spend time to practice, to feel the sensations in your body, this is the time that it's going to give you to condition yourself or recondition yourself to be able to take those situations that may be a little bit harder and a little bit more challenging and to feel into them instead of trying to want to get away from them. What am I feeling? What have I found in this feeling? What is this pain in my body? What is the metaphysical reason behind the pain, behind the sensation, behind the feeling, behind the thought? It gives us the chance to be able to have that insight, and that insight to our own body, to the person we are, is gold. It's a way of getting to know yourself, and it's a way of being able to come back to presence. So I look forward to practicing with you today on the mat, and I thank you for coming and doing yoga with me. So come into a cross-legged position today on your mat, and you can use a block or a bolster or a cushion from the bed, anything you like, just to pop under your seat and to help you in your practice. And this will help lengthen the spine. Bring the hands to the knees or to the thighs, and maybe palms can be facing up just for the moment. And just come into your space. Close down the eyes. And connect with the breath. And sense where you feel the breath in your body. Is it the cool air that comes through the nostrils? Is it the peak? Or is it the breath as it travels down to the belly? Take an interest and observe. And not trying to force the breath, just flowing with it. Extend the breath just a little bit further in your body. Feel into the sensations of the breath. And then feel into the sensations of your toes. And imagine trying to breathe through your toes. And then think about your fingertips and your palms. Feel the tingling and the warmth. And discover the life inside your palms. And imagine breathing into this area of your body. And before we come to practice today, just making an intention to be aware of any feelings, emotions, physical or mental, and that come up through the body as you practice. And maybe write them down after you finish your practice today. And take another great big breath. Bring it up a little bit more now. Extending the inhale, lengthening the exhale. And just riding the waves of sensation throughout your body. And just feeling the sensations as you have arrived into your practice. Opening up the eyes, keeping the gaze nice and soft. And either keeping yourself sitting on your block or your bolster or removing that, whatever feels more comfortable in your body. And bringing the hands just to the side. You're going to inhale the left arm all the way up to the sky and exhale, bring it over. And you can take the right hand and put it wherever you feel comfortable this morning. Inhaling the arm up. We're going to go straight over to the other side now. Feeling the flow of our practice. Keeping our practice flowing today. Inhaling and exhaling. And coming back to center. So bring your right hand and just put it in front of you. And we're just going to do a really gentle twist. So left hand goes to the back and just press through your fingertips to bring you up a little bit taller. The inhale and just very gentle twist for the start of the morning. And then coming back and changing direction. The left hand in front. Waking up the spine and coming back. Bringing the hands onto the knees and just leaning back. And then pulling yourself up on the exhale. And actually you can breathe through your mouth on this one. So inhaling through the nose, come back. And exhaling through the mouth, lift up. A few more. And at any of these moving meditations, then please just close down the eyes if that suits your practice. Now moving the shoulder blades up, back and around, both shoulders. And then going in the opposite direction, just getting some gentle movements. Bringing the hands and clasping them together and just taking them all the way up on the inhale, pushing them up. On the exhale, bringing them all the way down, and then we're going to inhale all the way out and exhale coming back. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale going up, turning the palms to face the sky. Exhale coming down and pushing out. Inhale to come in. Exhale to go out. Inhale to come in. And exhale to go out. And then dropping the hands and coming onto all fours, tabletop position. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. Spread the fingers nice and wide, middle finger facing the front of the room. And tuck the toes. So push your hands into the floor. And push the toes into the floor. And I want you to push the baby toe into the floor. So just feeling all 10 toes, and you're going to come back and sit up on your knees. And this doesn't have to be low. You can stay as high as you want, but just sitting back, putting the block underneath you if it's comfortable, or staying up on your toes and just pressing all 10 toes, feeling the sensation of the toes as they strongly press into the mat. And then coming forward and back into tabletop. And you're going to do some gentle cat-cows. So inhaling, belly drops. Shoulders go to the back of the spine as you look up. Tailbone to the ceiling. And exhaling, rounding into the cat and pushing the mat away. The head gently comes into the body. Keep doing these cat-cows. Gently wake up the spine. And now bending to the right of the room, with the hips and the head, going to turn. And we'll go to the left now. Feeling into the hips. Doing any other movement that feels good on the mat. So that could be going back to your cat-cow, or that could be doing nice circles all the way around. Opening up the hips. And whatever direction you're going, if you're doing circles, come back in the other direction. And we'll meet in tabletop once more. So keeping the toes tucked, just lifting the knees on the inhale and coming into a bent downward facing dog. So lifting the knees, just pushing gently back through the hands as the buttocks tilts up to the sky. And look forward and step or walk to the front of your mat. Hanging out in Uttanasana, forward fold. So first forward fold of the day, keep the legs as bent as you like. And then push energy through the soles of your feet to slowly bring you up, one vertebra by vertebra. Rolling the shoulders down the back and bringing the head up last. Just push into your feet now, just setting up for Tadasana. So lifting up the toes, bringing the feet together or hip width apart. Putting the toes one by one and spreading them nicely on the mat. Standing up really, really tall. Pulling the knees all the way up. The thighs wrap around and expanding through the waist. Pretending a piece of string is coming out of your head, just pulling you up taller. Drawing in the belly and rolling the shoulders up, back and around. Hands can come down by the sides and then bring your thumbs just gently out to face the sides of the room. Tadasana, mountain pose. So inhale, bend into your legs and bring the arms all the way up. And very mini back bend back. Now the fingertips of the pinky fingers can just slightly point to the back of the room. Exhaling, let's reverse swan dive all the way down to the floor. Bring the head in last, and then we're going to look out to the distance. So whether your hands are on your shins or on the floor, looking out to the distance in Ardha Uttanasana. And then stepping the right leg to the back of the mat and staying up in a high lunge. Wherever this is, it could see you really high up or it could see you down a little bit lower. But wherever you are, just adjust your hips. Pull your front foot like you're trying to pull it back on the mat and your back foot like you're trying to pull it forward. Just to set your hips up so that they're in a straight line, and pressing into the front foot, just coming all the way up and bringing the arms up and around will bring you into a high lunge. And then gently settling into this lunge. Look to the front toes. Can you see your big toe and your second toe? So staying in our high lunge, you can either look to the front or you can look gently up to the ceiling, to the sky, and then circle the arms all the way back down and around, putting them on the floor, bringing the knee down to the mat. Push forward into your front knee and then walk your hands back very slowly, lifting the front toes off the mat. And just stay here. Now adjust your hips. So move the left hip backwards and the right hip forwards. Breathe into the sensation you feel in your body. Now if you're not being able to make your way down here, that's absolutely fine. You can have blocks to hold you up. So all you're doing is feeling into the sensation of your hips rather than getting in as low as you can to the stretch. Placing the toes back down on the mat, we're going to frame the feet with our hands, spreading the fingers out nice and wide, middle fingers facing towards the front of the room. Lifting up the right knee off the ground now. Press into the hands as you step the left leg all the way back to meet the right to set you up in plank. So your toes and your heels are over each other, but your heels are pressing towards the back of the room and your head is surging to the front of the room. Coming down on the knees, chest, chin now. And then bringing the head down to the floor. So bring the hands all the way into the body and spread the fingers out nice and wide, middle fingers facing the front. And you're going to inhale, pull your hands backwards as you lift your chest off the ground into Sphinx. Now feel into your lower back. If there is any discomfort in your lower back, just push firmly into your pubic bone just to lighten the lower back and bring you up a little bit higher. And then exhale, coming down. And we're going to push back into our child's pose. So bring your toes all the way together and keeping your knees as far apart as you like, spreading them open. You can come back, your bottom onto your heels. Forehead goes to the ground. Reach out with your fingertips, drawing energy from your fingertips and your tailbone in two opposite directions. And on the next inhale, coming up into tabletop position at the front of the mat. I want you to push your toes into the mat and come up into your first downward facing dog. So you can keep your knees bent, but hover the knees off the ground, and on the inhale, draw your waist all the way back to the back of the room, up to the sky, forming your first A-frame shape for the day, downward facing dog. Flutter through your lips, shake the head, and make sure you feel nice and relaxed in this position. And if you don't feel relaxed, feel into the sensations that are coming up. Bending into the knees, looking up to the front of your mat and stepping forward into Uttanasana, forward fold. Press into the feet as you reverse swan dive all the way up, bringing the hands down into the heart. Samastiti equals standing. And flowing again. So inhaling, hands come all the way up. Exhaling, swan diving down to the mat. Ardha Uttanasana, looking out to the distance. And stepping back with the left foot this time, staying high on the balls of the back feet and just feeling into your high lunge on this side. Pulling the left hip back and the right hip forward and pressing into the toes, coming all the way up into high lunge. Keeping the hands on the hips or bringing them up to the ceiling. And if it's in your practice, you may look up. Anjaneyasana, high lunge. Circling the hands all the way back down to frame the front foot. And you're going to bring the back knee down. As you walk the hands back, lift up the right toes off the mat, flexing into the foot, pushing the right hip back and left hip forward, and feeling into some very strong sensations. You can bring your right foot down now, come forward, frame that right foot with your hands, lift the back knee off the floor, and on an exhale, swing your front foot all the way back around to meet your back foot in high plank. And then drop knees, chest and chin once more to the ground. And this time we're going to set up for Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. So bringing the hands all the way in, keeping the shoulder blades on the back, pressing the feet flat into the ground, and on the inhale pushing the pubic bone in to the floor, bringing you up into Cobra. And then coming back down And pushing into the hands, we're going to come back into child's pose. Big toes touch. And straight away, coming up into tabletop. Tuck the toes at the back and lift up into downward facing dog on the exhale. And just breathe into your downward facing dog. Pull in gently on your ribs. So we have a tendency to let the ribs splay out in downward dog. Check that all 10 toes are on the floor. And on the next inhale, bend the legs and take no breaths to step quietly to the front of your mat and exhale. Into forward fold. Pressing through the feet, bringing you all the way up, reverse swan dive, hands come through to heart. Into Samastati, equal standing. Pulling up through the knees, pulling up through the waist, making sure the shoulders are on the back. And just close down the eyes here just for a moment. So inhaling, we're going to bring our arms all the way up and swan dive all the way down to the mat. Now, when you're down on the mat, I want you to bend straight into your knees if they're not already, and we're going to come up into a powerful chair pose. So pressing into the feet, bringing the hands all the way up, pretending that you're sitting down on a chair. So your ears will be in line with your forearms. And then on the next exhale, push down into Uttanasana once more. Ardha Uttanasana, looking out to the distance. And step back into plank straight away. So one foot and then the other foot. Heels to the back. Bend at the elbows, tracking all the way back behind you, brings you back onto your belly. And setting up on the next inhale, pushing down through the feet and up into Cobra pose. And coming all the way back down. Moving through to child's pose or pressing the toes into the mat and coming straight up to plank. We're all going to meet back in downward facing dog. So if you're in plank, just roll over your toes, pushing your hands towards the front of the room and bringing you back into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. And it's okay to move in your downward dog, repositioning, setting up, checking into your fingers and your hands. Bringing your tailbone a little bit higher. And then bending into the knees. Stepping forward to Uttanasana. Bending through the legs and just coming up again into chair pose. So hands come all the way up into chair. Feet are together. Staying here if you want, or coming up onto your toes, feeling your legs as they shake. Feel that sensation of energy, and then bringing the heels back to the mat and pushing through the hands to stand up. Close down the eyes, Take a few deep breaths. And so now we're going to come into a couple of balancing poses. And balancing poses are wonderful for stability of the mind. And when you're in a balancing pose, it's interesting to acknowledge what's going on inside your head. The easiest way to do this is to find a drishti spot. So a spot straight in front of you or on the floor, just to bring your gaze really lightly to. Pushing into your right foot, lifting your right knee, you're going to hug that knee into your chest. And it's perfectly okay if you're wobbling or if you can't get your knee up very high, or if you're just taking your foot on and off the ground, that's fine. But if you're up like this, you can either choose to stay here, or you can choose to get your peace fingers and hold on to your toes. Take your right hand and pop it on your hip to give you a little bit of balance, and just gently push your left foot away. Now, it doesn't matter if the foot isn't straight. If you've come this far, then see if you can move your foot in one direction and pull your hands in the other direction to bring your hips a little bit more open. You can bring your hand out to the side, balance, and then bring it back. Hand comes to hip, leg comes in, give it a little squeeze, and put it down. Now, if you only got to here on that pose, that's amazing, because you're doing this pose for your own body. So your leg might not want to stretch out, and your hips may not be in the position to open, pending your circumstances. But giving yourself that little bit of balance and tuning in to those sensations in your body, whether they're saying, hurry up, get me out of here, gives you awareness of exactly what's going on. So pressing into the left foot, you're going to do the same on the right, and you always find that you can balance better on one side than on the other. So bringing the foot into the chest, taking your peace fingers of your right hand, wrapping them around your big toe, bringing your hand to your hip, and either staying here or pushing energy out through your foot. What thoughts are coming up? And if you're here, see if you can go a little bit further. And when you're ready, coming back to center. And just checking in to any wobbling in the body. Any wobbling in the body or shaking is energy. It's a wonderful way to get the energy out. Now straight away, foot comes to the ground, close down the eyes. Feeling the breath coming into the body, expanding the breath a little bit, naturally, and opening the eyes. So tune into that calmness now in your body, because the balancing poses stir up so much emotion that after you complete the balancing pose, and whether you came up all the way or whether you just came to here, feel how good your body feels after. So balancing poses are great to come to in any circumstance whenever your brain is in hyperactivity mode. So let's come down and cool the practice off on the floor. So we're going to come down into our wide-legged squat, which I do in most of my practices. I absolutely love this one because it just, like I said, opens up your hips, and it's really important. It's a really nice one. You can use your block under your seat, lift your heels if you need to, and just turn your toes out. And when you're down here, either stay like this or bring your hands together using your elbows just to push your legs away. Take a few deep breaths. And then push your hands all the way into your legs to pull gently onto your bottom. Spread the legs nice and wide. And just adjust. So I like putting one hand in front of me, one hand behind me, and just pulling myself up and coming back down, opening the legs to wherever it's comfortable on your body. And we're going to put our left hand against our left calf or our foot, inhaling the arm up, bringing it all the way over. Enjoy the stretch through the right side waist. Bend the elbow, bring the hand to the back of the head, and just press gently the head into the hand into the head. And open up the right elbow, and then come up and gently twist over to the left. So right hand comes into the middle of the mat, left hand lifts you up, a gentle twist. Coming back to center, do the same on the opposite side. Right hand comes to right foot or calf, inhale the arm up, bring it over. Bend of the elbow, move the elbow back towards the back of the room as you open up the chest. And come all the way up once more. And we're going to come forward now. So do this on the breath. So inhaling and exhale to move. Keep your feet flexed. It'll protect the muscles through your legs, and if there's any discomfort, then close your legs a little bit more. But don't move unless you're exhaling into the forward fold. Keeping your back nice and flat. And when you've gone as far as feels comfortable for you today, then you can relax and round your back and come closer to the ground. And you can always put a cushion or a block underneath your hands. And then walking back up, being nice and gentle with your body, and just turn the right hand behind you, just gentle twist to the right and come back. Now be very, very careful with your legs as you move them now, especially if you opened your legs nice and wide. Turn your body around and get ready to come in to Shavasana, yourself down onto the mat. And before you do, just pull your legs into your chest and give yourself a tight squeeze. And roll the back around on the mat. And go in the opposite direction. And when you're ready, stretch out one leg, stretch out the other leg. Adjust your body so it feels really nice and comfortable. And this can mean putting a blanket on your body, putting a pillow onto your head. Just make sure your comfort is key in this pose, the hardest pose in the whole of any yoga sequence is Shavasana. Being able to be still, letting your body take a blueprint of all of the positions you did today, soaking up all of those wonderful thoughts and sensations. And as you breathe into the body, follow the breath now without any control through the body as it snakes its way from the belly to the crown. Catch your thoughts. If anything arises, just acknowledge it. And observe the way that you're growing to be able to catch the little train of thoughts that come into your head. Soften down the eyes, relax the jaw, and bring a gentle smile to your mouth. And do a body scan now. Feel into the sensation of your toes. Maybe tingling or buzzing. Feeling into the feet and the heels as they lie against the back of the mat. Breathing in the thighs, the knees, the hips, the torso, and the whole back body. Feel the head as it gently pushes into the ground. Melt the shoulders into the mat. Feel your arms, your forearms, listen now for any outside noises, any talking or trees or wind, any movements around you. Coming back to a total presence. Feeling every sensation in your body. Deepening the breath now, just a little bit more. Noting how the belly rises and falls. And very gently moving your thumb and your fingertips. Feeling into the sensation of just the fingers moving. And keeping the fingers now nice and still. And wiggling your big toe. And then the rest of your toes. Without moving, observing how your toes wriggle, the sensations that the toes might bring up. There's probably not a lot of time in the day that these wonderful extremities from our body move and we really concentrate on feeling them. And then taking a few deep breaths. Coming back into presence and rolling very gently to the right side of your body. Into a recovery position. And when you're ready, pushing yourself up from the mat. Keeping the eyes closed or downcast. And sitting in a cross-legged position. Bringing the hands to the heart, just bowing the head gently down to the hands. Thank you so much for taking the time to practice. Beautiful yogis. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.